the Dream 100 Show. The epicenter of influence, collaboration, and exponential growth. You're about to discover the power of relationships. Dream 100 relationships. And you're one relationship away from a totally different business and life. This is your host, Michael Tasner.
Hey there, and welcome to lucky number 7 of the Dream 100 show. We've been building week after week after week on successfully deploying the Dream 100 framework. Last week, we talked about the social media outreach. So you've got your contacts, you're starting to post on their social media every single day. And that is the secret sauce, among other secret sauces, is to make sure that you're hitting those daily singles. It doesn't make sense to just throw one post up, maybe post a month later, a couple months later. It's this daily singles. It's that consistency. It's the seeing this every single day that will start to grab people's attention. Now, I talked about, again, making sure that it's not overly salesy. In today's episode, we're going to focus on what do you do when somebody replies, let's talk, or they reply back and you kind of like, oh, okay, well, Michael, I've got them hooked a little bit, but how do I reel them in? And what do I do next? And do I have to pay them commissions? And like, what does this look like? The disclaimer is that it's not a one-size-fits-all system. However, the strategy and the framework that I like to see executed is give to get. So what do I mean by that? You're commenting on someone's social media. You're really not giving anything. You're posting so that ideally they notice you and they reply back. And they might reply back with, great to see your comment. Thank you for that. And if you're looking to kind of rate the comments, obviously the people that say, hey, I've been seeing you've been commenting on my stuff for a while. Tell me more. Or if you decide after those couple of weeks and they start to reply back a little bit, you can send them a Facebook message, a LinkedIn message, an Instagram DM. What I'm looking for you to do is to get on a phone call or a Zoom, in a perfect world Zoom video conference. If you're trying to grab local relationships, coffee, going to their location is even better than phone, of course, and Zoom is another good option if it's not a local relationship. But the pitch is typically vague. The pitch that I like to use is I think we have some really fun synergies within our businesses, and I think I could send some people your way. And say, well, Michael, I thought we were trying to get them to come to us. We are. But if you know anything about marketing and persuasion, there's this thing called the law of reciprocity. So if you think about, if you've ever went on vacation overseas, a lot of these people will make little gifts. They'll put them in your hand, and you now feel bad. Like you feel like the free gift. And here you go, we give you the gift. And then it's like, yeah, okay, now what? Literally just happened to me. I was going to a Buffalo Bills football game. We were there live, and somebody was coming around handing out American flag pins. It's like, well, the pins are completely free if you want to make a small donation. And then he kind of stood there very awkwardly. So it's funny, my brother-in-law wanted to give the pins back because he didn't really, it was a little bit of a, not sleazy, but it wasn't a great delivery. We'll just phrase it that way. But we ended up giving him a few dollars because you then felt bad for the guy. So this whole law of reciprocity is if I want to say, well, I think you could be a great referral partner and I think you could send a lot of people our way and we could give you compensation, that's not a really great pitch. So depending on your product and service, I like to phrase it a little bit generically. I think we can refer some people to you. I think we could refer relationships. I think we have some really fun synergies. You've got to be careful on I think we have some fun synergies because that's starting to get to be a little bit overused. If you really want to make a slam dunk pitch, you're going to tailor it based on the relationship. So let's say that you own let's say a chain of pizza restaurants, for example. You're looking at, okay, great. So Dream 100, who could send us a ton of pizza orders? The first thing that comes to my mind would be banquet halls that may not necessarily make pizza, or maybe they source out all the food, halls, so like hall rentals for bachelor parties and other events. So like, great. So who actually owns those and or runs those? You could say, well, I think we could send a lot of people your way. You've got this great hall. I think we can expose people and tell people all about this great hall rental that you have and hopefully get some more business your way. But if you really start to tailor that pitch, you could say, well, I know you're located here, and these are the types of parties and functions that you like to get. We've got a huge database of 6,000 people, and we really think that of those, 1,000 people could potentially have events there. And I just thought it would be cool to see if we could send some people your way. The more specific you can make it, the better. But what I don't want you to do is I don't want your entire pitch delivered over an email or over a Facebook message or a LinkedIn message. I want it to spark their curiosity, and I want it to show them that you're willing to deliver the goods first. It's very, very easy to ask people for things, but it comes from a completely different place if you are giving to get. Giving to get. So I typically will use some languaging again of would love to jump on a Zoom or a quick phone call. I think there's some ways that we could send some people your way. We own a bunch of pizza stores. You've got this banquet facility, and we really think that we could send a lot of people your way. When do you have time to connect on Friday? You could sales it up a little bit at the end to put some urgency rather than keeping it open-ended. What happens if they don't respond to that? What you don't do is you don't start sending any thoughts on that? Question mark, ... You don't send the eyeballs. You don't send the cheesy emojis. You go back to square one and you go back to commenting on their social media. You go back to making sure that you're posting. But what you're going to do is you're also going to tie in a small gift. So one framework within the Dream 100 is all about commenting, getting in front of them, grabbing attention. The other portion of it is about leveraging strategic gifts. So great, I've got the social media of the owner of this banquet hall. What are they into? As I talked about in the last episode, you should be building up as you're posting on their social media or posting on the banquet social media. You should start to learn a lot of information about that contact, where they're hanging out, where they went to school, all of those really fun things about them that you could tie in a personalized gift. Now, the whole gifting aspect, I'm going to talk a lot about on the next episode. But as you get someone to they take the bait a little bit, you want to start to reel them in. And if they start to then ghost you after you've given a very, very small, not an ask, but a small preview as to what you want to have the conversation about, they may say, I don't know if I'm in the mood for that right now, and they might start to ghost you. Now, it's very easy to give up. Well, I guess they're not interested. Slow roll, playing the long game, hitting daily singles. You don't stop. If they were interested initially, they didn't respond to your message and say, no, we do 0 partnerships, we don't need any more people. No one's typically going to just give you a full-blown, no, we don't want you to send us any new business. I rarely see that happen. Now, if you were to say, you've got a banquet hall, I wanted to see if you could send us a bunch of pizza orders. Can I talk to you, whoever is responsible for making the purchasing decisions? Those things are so overdone, that's going to get the door closed very, very quickly. Give to get. So if they respond, let's have a conversation, then they start to ghost you, then I'm going to deploy the gifting strategy. And that strategy is picking some kind of gift that, depending on the contact, depending on your business, their business, this can take a mind of its own. There's an entire framework for how I pick gifts, how much money I suggest you invest. That'll be discussed on next week's episode. But let's just say in simplicity, you've noticed that they talk a lot about coffee on their personal Facebook page. They mention a coffee shop that they like to attend. What I would suggest you do is you get a gift certificate from that local coffee shop. Maybe you get a coffee mug with their business name, not yours on it, or something fun. Even you want to take it a step further. You get a mug from their college that they attended, a gift card. I noticed that you happen to go to Bradley University, which is where I went to college. So I wanted to get you one of their newest mugs. And here's a gift card to this local coffee shop. Thought you would enjoy it. P.S. I'd still love to have a conversation about how we could send business your way. Here's my phone number. Text or call anytime. You send that gift and you then continue the social media posting. You're authentically commenting on one of their accounts each and every day. So they're getting that gift. You're still continuing. Then you can continue to take it up a notch. And this is where you have to start to pivot a little bit based on the love or the not so much love you're getting from the other side. You also can pivot based on how large of a relationship this is. If it's a gigantic banquet hall that you think could be a $1 million contact, I might start to take up the heat to where we're sending a gift once a month or every other month, for example. And the key again with the gifts is that I want them to be personal, but I don't want them to seem like you're trying to bribe them. Like you're not going to typically, now this is open for interpretation, but you're not typically going to put 2 box seats to an NFL football game because you know you like the team and those seats are worth like $20,000 because you want to get in. There's a lot of things from a corporate legality standpoint, and this can't be, it's not used as a bribe. It needs to be used as a nicety and just as one of those ways to continue to pique their interest so that you stay top of mind. But notice that when you were sending out that gift, I didn't suggest including any of your literature. I wanted you to keep it a little bit open-ended and not salesy. We're trying to put you in a completely different league than everybody else. If you know that other pizza places have tried to get into that banquet hall, or I'm sure other people are trying to get in with those buyers, what are they doing? And they're probably using the generic stuff. So you're going to continue the authentic commenting, and you're going to start to deploy the gifting strategy. Now, you can also vary it up a little bit. The strategy that's been working really, really well, and this one takes a bit of work if you don't have it already set up, but deploying a podcast like the one that I have here, if you have a podcast that it would make sense for that particular business to come on where you can give them free exposure, having a podcast is a great way to have another soft ask. For example, hey, Mr. or Mrs. owner of the banquet hall, I've got a podcast that is for all things Buffalo, New York. I would love to have you on as my guest. Here are the 3 dates that I have available. Which of these 3 works? I will produce it extremely well. I'll send you all the questions in advance, and we're going to get you a bunch of free publicity for your banquet hall. I look forward to connecting. So what that does is similar to the phone conversation of giving to get, saying, hey, I'd love to talk and see if there's some ways I can refer business to you. This is bringing them onto your show, and your pitch is, I want to give you some free PR. So similar to how can I send business your way, you're inviting them onto your show. Now, what's fun about this is that this can speed up that process of having to nurture the relationship a bit. What I don't want you to do, though, again, similar to that first conversation, just because they came on your show, they're going to ask you or they're going to say something at the beginning or at the end that goes like this. Michael, it was great being on your show. Appreciate you having me here. If there's anything that I can do to help you, please let me know. Or they're going to say, tell me more about your business. My rebuttal to that is, well, I have a chain of pizza stores, and I would love to find some other ways to work together. However, I want to keep this initially focused on you. I want to make sure I get you a bunch of PR, And if you have some time, maybe in the next couple of weeks, I can stop by. We can get on a phone conversation, but I want to make this one about you. I want to bring some value to your life. I want to drive some people your way. Oh, that's very, very nice of you. So I don't want it to seem self-serving. Most people that I've seen deploy this podcast strategy, in my opinion, they go in for the kill too quickly. They go in or they invite them on the podcast, they do the episode, and then they don't do any promotion. What I'm going to do now is, after I have the episode produced, it gives me another reason to send an email. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Banquet Owner, I wanted to let you know that we're going to be publishing your podcast on Friday afternoon. Here's the link, the draft link. I've already got all of our social media teed up. We're going to do an email blast. So I'm expecting to get you some really good PR. If I can help in any way on this podcast, please let me know. We're also going to put some ad dollars behind it to really make sure we get some really great promotion for you. It gives you another reason to send them that email and follow up. From there, you also are going to deploy the gift. Wanted to send you a thank you gift for being on the podcast. It was so great to get a chance to meet you and learn about your banquet center. If it makes sense in the future, would love to have another conversation. Something along those lines, that you're keeping it pretty open, pretty general, and we're just trying to move them along the ladder so where it gets to the place where you can insert your ask. You've now given, so you've done the podcast, for example. You've done some promotion for them or some social media that on your side to continue to give them some love and attention. That's when you can then continue to take this relationship up a notch when you deem it appropriate to ask. It's all about timing. And it's a tricky balance because a lot of people that deploy the Dream 100, they want those rapid, quick wins. As I continue to get to the final ends of deploying the Dream 100, I am going to do at least 1 or 2 episodes on rapid, quick wins. The feedback that I always get is, Michael, I know this is a slow roll strategy and it takes a fair amount of time, but is there any way to drive massive, quick wins? Or maybe we go after, the Dream 100, but they're not the caliber of a Dream 100, but we can speed it up a little bit. I will give you some content around that in kind of the concluding episodes as I round out the framework. But this is a little bit of a slow roll, and it's that balancing act of knowing when you can ask to where it's going to be perceived in a good way. But if you're deploying the give to get, if you've posted about social media, then you let them know, hey, we got these social media posts about your business. If you want us to add anything else, please let me know. Here's the podcast episode. You sent the gift, for example. You then can start to go in for your ask. And the ask is going to be different based on your business. But traditionally, it's going to be, if you could be so kind, I would love maybe a social media post on your account talking about our business. I know you've done a couple of email blasts. I'm on your email newsletter. I'd be more than happy to write the content for you. I'd be even happy to pay you if that makes sense. So you want to have your next step, you want to have that ultimate goal in mind. But what I like to do is I like to start more with the baby steps. So your ultimate might be, I want an email blast to their entire database. Well, what can we do to start the baby steps? So let's make the assumption you've already done a couple of things for them, whether it's the podcast, whether it's you blasting your email list or promoting on social media. Well, let's take the relationship up to the next level and then the next level. But what you're doing from your side is you're continuing to build the relationship. You're showing your authority as well. You're sending the gifts. So they're like, well, geez, this person's pretty nice. They're commenting on my social media. They're showing some love there. Sent me a couple of small, nice gifts. So that's really nice of you. They put me on this podcast, or they got some free press for us. So yeah, let's do something with them. And instead of just going right in for the kill, well, hey, how about I would absolutely love an email blast. And you kind of have to play the sales game a little bit, but I'd love an email blast. Like, that would be a slam dunk. I'd be ever so grateful. But maybe we start with, I give you a couple of social media posts and you get them on your Facebook account and just kind of talk about our business a little bit. Could we start there? How does that sound? Well, yeah, that sounds good, but we do emails once a quarter. I'd be happy to put you up for consideration. No, that sounds great. And you have to continue to stay on these relationships. I know that I've mentioned my software many, many times. I don't give hard sales pitches, rarely ever. That's why we built the software, is to maintain these relationships in a separate tool, because I know entrepreneurs. I am an entrepreneur. Been one since I was 14 years old. We have ADD. We move all over the place. I've been to many events where I've landed huge contacts, or gotten huge contacts. I forget who they were and lost their business card. Or I get their business card, I throw it in somewhere, I send one email, and that's it. Example, I was at an event earlier today, got the speaker's email address. I think there could be some really fun things. I wouldn't say they're a Dream 100 for me. It's more of a charity thing that I could see us doing. The gentleman was a Navy SEAL, and he helps other Navy SEALs. So, great. I could send one email, and if he doesn't respond, I probably will forget about it. However, I'm going to put him in my engine so that we know we're hitting those daily singles. We're getting the reminders. Did you send out this gift? Did you do this? Did you post on their social media? Pulling content in to tell me what I should be writing and saying. So you've got to make sure that you maintain these relationships. You've got to make sure that as they're responding, you're responding. If they're ghosting you, you're not just going to the cheesy sales tactics. You're going to keep executing, keep commenting, send those gifts, and then ultimately you're getting them on a conversation. You're going to one-up them once again. You're going to give them something else. I want you on my podcast. I want to put you on social media. I want to blast our email list. And then you continue to leverage the relationship. You send them a thank you gift, and you continue to move them in that cycle to where they ultimately lead to becoming a major referral partner. And if you do this time and time and time again, and all of a sudden you've got multiple people that are referring you business, game over in a good way. Game over in a good way. So as we round things out, next week I'm going to talk about the art of gifting. So we talked a lot about kind of how you move that relationship forward. The final major piece to this is the gifting strategy. So I talked about sending gifts, but I want to talk through the math and how you figure out other gift ideas. I want to talk about some of the best gifts that we've seen the best responses with, so that you then can continue to build that long-term sustainable Dream 100 strategy. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Massively appreciate all the comments, likes, the love. Keep sharing, keep commenting. Really appreciate you listening. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Michael Tasner signing off. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. See ya.